like when you look at a lot of those Chelsea players, with the exception of Cole Palmer, I mean, for some of them it's early days, I suppose, but I can't think of too many players in recent years that have gone to Chelsea and got better. And now maybe that, you know, it's unfair to say that, because a lot of that is maybe down to sort of the circus off the pitch and how that has influenced things. But I do think, you know, players like Cody Gakpo, for example, we're seeing now sort of the sort of player that he can be. Even Luis Diaz this season under Arne Slot has improved massively. And I think you look at that Chelsea squad and it feels like a lot of players go there and either sort of stagnate or decline a little bit. Now that might change under the new manager. There's obviously a lot of young players, but yeah, I do think sometimes it's like it's a team of individuals rather than a blended team.
I can't understand taking money, which I know is a huge factor, but I mean, you go to any top club, you get paid really good money. So take money out of it. I can't understand why anyone would go to Chelsea, especially over the last few years. If you're a football player, why would you think that would be the best place for your development? You know, with the exception of Cole Palmer, who has developed well at Chelsea, there aren't many players. I mean, they've had a good start to the season and things seem like they're calming down a little bit there now. So perhaps they will start to develop, but it's just not a great place. Same, you know, I can understand why Man United have the prestige, don't they? And maybe Chelsea, you know, we're going to talk about this, but you are both younger than me. So maybe Chelsea do, for younger people, have a prestige, but I never saw them as a prestigious club. I always saw them as a bit of a
quite hollow.
Plastic London. Yeah. Hollow's a good example. You know, London club, you know, whereas like Arsenal, Spurs had the traditions, Chelsea fans would kill me for saying this, but they have got traditions, but they just felt a little bit more hollow. And I can't understand with the amount of turnover they've got there with players, why you'd go there and trust them with your career.
That's what I was just about to say. No one's looking at Chelsea and going there from looking at the football project and being like, you know, they've been through 4 managers under the ownership, so no one's going there and thinking this is a great place for me to kind of, you know, reap the rewards in 3 or 4 years' time, get better, you know, maybe earn a bigger move. Because the reality is, as we've touched on with all those strikers, if you're Nicholas Jackson, Mudryk, you know, whoever, if you play 2 or 3 bad games, you're out the team, and Jadon Sancho is coming in, you're probably not playing again for another 4 or 5 games. So in terms of getting that consistency, you know, and game time to develop, which, as we've seen with players like Gakpo and Nunes, it's essential. You're just not getting that at Chelsea. And as you say, the lifestyle of living in London, of course, that'll be a big factor. The money and kind of the really long contracts they were giving out, of course that. But it's then you question, would you want those players at your club if that's solely what they're looking for? You'd rather someone say, you know, I'm going to sign here for 4 years and hopefully by then I'm going to earn myself a move to a bigger club. You know, I'm going to back my potential. But it's kind of, a lot of them are falling into that trap because, as I say, if you're the 7th choice striker or forward at Chelsea and you've cost £60 million, you'd probably be first choice at a Tottenham or, you know, even second or third choice at an Arsenal. But kind of they're just stockpiling talent, aren't they, really?
Yeah. I always find it quite funny when players sort of speak about the London lifestyle and that being a big draw, because it's sort of like, have you ever been to London? Like, I mean, obviously they're experiencing it in a very different way to us, who are earning, you know, a normal wage. They're earning, you know, a hell of a lot of money. And I suppose, like, if you're coming from a different country, it is this big, exciting place. But even if I was, you know, earning a lot of money, I'd rather live in Cheshire or Manchester.
But I don't think
it's the airports, isn't it? And stuff. It sounds stupid, but I remember when the whole thing with Sanchez a few years ago, you know, when he went to Arsenal over Liverpool, and I think I read something a few years on it, and it was kind of looking back at it was an on this day, and it basically said that, like, his wife was saying the international airports was just a huge thing to be able to go back home, and the friends you made in Spain and obviously South America as well. So I think those kind of things which maybe you don't factor in, but again, it's as best as I don't really get the prestige of living in London.
Although John Lennon Airport has been voted the best in the UK this year, so
they don't do any flights that are good for me though, so get that sorted. But maybe it's just like you can get lost in London a bit more for them as well. Whereas if you're in Liverpool, and, you know, famously Newcastle was it Jermaine Janus who said it was a goldfish bowl. Well, I'm just thinking, surely London isn't like that for international players. They can get lost a bit more. But I certainly, you know, we'll talk about him later, but Caicedo, why you would pick Chelsea to go and develop your career over Liverpool, and why you would pick, but it was Pochettino at the time, but Chelsea burned through that many different managers. Why you would go, well, you know, Pochettino leaves, there's every chance that the next guy might not like me. Whereas at Liverpool they had Klopp. I know Klopp has since left, but surely going to play for Klopp and play for a club like Liverpool who develops players, who trusts players. You look at Nunes, like, how many clubs would have written him off as a flop? And I don't think he would have deserved that. But I'm sure there was a lot of other clubs that were giving up on him. Liverpool always give them chances, don't they? And they don't write players off anywhere as quickly. And again, you go back to that forward line that Chelsea have got. I mean, if people label Darwin Núñez a flop, I mean, Mudryk is a flop, isn't he? You know, similar money. And just
do you remember his debut was against Liverpool? In that
he was really good, wasn't he?
I mean, I know James Milner was about 45, but he skinned James Milner, didn't he? Everyone thought this kid's going to be a world beater, and you know, he's plays under 30 now, and he hasn't looked half as good. But I think with Chelsea as well is even, you know, you look at the Caicedo deal. I mean, it does. I think there's just a bit of an arrogance there as well with the money and from Todd Bowley and the kind of the things that you read, because on what planet is Caicedo worth that amount of money? And I know Liverpool were, you know, willing to pay a lot of money for him and a similar amount, but you think they already had Alexis McAllister, so they were essentially picking up that Brighton midfield that had done so well the season before. But with Chelsea, they'd signed Lavia, hadn't they, just before, or they were going to sign him after.
Yeah.
But they kind of earmarked him as a target as well. And then to get Caicedo, it almost felt like, we're going to let the Premier League know we're here. We're going to let, you know, it was very much Todd Bowley.
Having signed Enzo Fernandez the previous January.
For 100, that was a Premier League record, wasn't it, at the time? Obviously, then they smashed it with Caicedo. And I mean, talk about like value for money. It's just absolutely mental. And I'm sure he's, you know, from what you hear, he's done all right for Chelsea this year. He's kind of found his feet, you know, had a better 2024. But no planet is a defensive midfielder worth that amount of money.